Welcome back to the channel. This is Alpha Amigo occasionally. You know something? You know I'm from Ireland, and part of the culture in Ireland is about telling stories. This is a video about a story, a true story, and it's about what happened to me one night in Bangkok. If you've got any stories, by the way, you want me to tell, make sure you can send me an email to 5timeslucky@gmail.com. There's a link below. Actually, stories in Ireland are so much part of the culture that it's actually a greeting. When you go to Dublin or any part of Ireland, people will greet you, "What's the story?" That's the way they greet you. Cad on scale in Gaelic. Anyway, here's a story about one night in Bangkok and what happened to me. I was out having a few of these with a friend of mine, and we were down Soi 4 in Nana. And of course, you know what Soi 4 and Nana is. But we weren't on the rip. We just had a few beers and we're having a chat. And there was no ladies involved. And at that time, this is going back about 6 or 7 years. Nana kind of closed at 2 o'clock in the morning, more or less, give or take, you know. And I had the goo, as we call it in Ireland. You know, that's you have a few beers, you want a few more. But my friend went home at it must have been about 2 o'clock or so, and I decided I'd venture on. Now, I wasn't looking for a young one. In Ireland, by the way, that's a girl, a young one. Young fella is a guy. So I wasn't looking for a young one, but I was looking for another beer. And I walked and walked, and I walked down to Soi 22. Now, Soi 22 is a good walk. It's a reasonable walk from Soi 4. And I saw a bar open. And of course I happened along. It was an exterior, it was an outside kind of thing, you know. Anyway, sat in a bar stool, there was football or something on the telly. And I ordered a Heineken. I'm not a fan of Heineken by any stretch of imagination, but that's kind of all he had, more or less. So I ordered a bottle of Heineken. Small bottle, and I said to him, "How much is that?" And he said 150. That's 150 baht. So you're looking at 100 is $3, so $4 for a small Heineken. After all, it's sucking bit, you know yourself. So I said, all right. But I didn't pay him, of course. I just asked him how much it was for Heineken. He gave me the bottle anyway. I was sitting there drinking away, and this is as true as God. A young one came and sat down beside me. And she had a beer. Now, she had a beer with her as she came and sat down beside me. Didn't think nothing of it. Started talking to her. "How are you doing?" In pidgin Thai or English. I couldn't know because I didn't know because it was half shot anyway. And this is about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know at what stage, but another young one came and sat down on the other side. So one on the left and one on the right. Anyway, turned out the one on the right was a ladyboy, but that has a lot to do with the story actually. So the ladyboy one had a beer as well. She had a Heineken. And we were talking away and this, that and the other. And I had a look at the watch and it must have been, I don't know, 3:30 or something like that. And I said, "Geez, I better be getting home." So I said to the guy, "Loy Hasip, that's 150. And he said, "No." He said, "Jed Loy, which is 700. And I said, "What?" And he said, "Your beer 150, her beer 300, her beer 300. So 750, I should say." And I said, "What's the crack?" And I got really pissed off about this, like. So what it was is, you know, the usual story. You buy a beer for a girl in Nana and it's double the price as yours. The drinks is double the price. But you see, I didn't buy the beer. It was a total scam. So he was trying to charge me for this one and this one. So I got angry, as you would do. I was fed up. I was pissed off. And I threw him 200 baht on the counter and said, "Good luck." So as far as I was concerned, I was giving him 50 baht more than we'd agreed at the start. And I walked and went on my way. And I was walking up Soi 22, and I must have got about 20 metres, 25 metres. And I got a yank on the shirt from behind. And I was kind of swirled around. And who was it? Only the ladyboy who was sitting on me right. And she landed me a right hook. Bang, into the jaw. And she said, "You took our money." And I just went on my way. I didn't retaliate because obviously you're not going to retaliate. That, you know, in a place like that, you'd be completely destroyed. They'd be coming out of the woodwork after you. So I went on my merry way. I was still half jarred, you know. Jarred, by the way, is what we say in Ireland. By the way, this isn't a Hiberno English lesson, but years ago the farmers used to go to the shebeen, which is the local house, public house, for a pint, and they used to bring their own jars, and they'd scoop the jars into this whatever barrel of beer, and they'd have a jar of beer. That's where it comes from. And scoop is another term for a beer in Ireland. You're going for the scoop, you're going for the jar. But I was jarred. That's the term for being drunk, you say. One of the terms for being drunk. Anyway, the next morning, my friend, who was not from Ireland, he was from Manchester, he said to me, "Where'd you end up?" And I said, "I ended up in a place in Soy 22. And I told him what happened. And he said to me, "Why didn't you call the police?" And as I was thinking, I says to myself, I says to him, I says, "Why would I do that? Because if I'd have called the police, I would have made something of it. And they would have probably called to my house. And how would I explain to my wife that at 3:30 on a Sunday morning, I got a right hook from a ladyboy on Soy 22. So I left it and let it go. And that's the message of this video. If you're involved in an altercation with a Thai, you let it go. Because it's not worth it. It's absolutely not worth it. I would say I got away lightly on that night, because the ladyboy in question, if she's confident enough to throw a right hook, she's expecting a response. I wasn't going to give it to her in any way, shape or form, if you know what I mean. And I went on my merry way. So there you go. That's the story about the ladyboy and the right hook on Soy 22 in Sukhumvit. These things can happen, but just be aware of the fact that if you go for a gargle's another term for drink in Ireland. The Eskimos have 100 words for snow, the Irish have 100 words for being drunk. If you go for a gargle anywhere in the Sukhumvit area and you're involved with a young one, you're going to, well, best be warned that you're going to pay whatever drink she has. If it's in a bar, you're going to pay double whatever it is for you. And if you argue the point afterwards, you're pissing into the wind. So I hope that's not too many expletives for YouTube on one video. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure you click that subscribe button, the like button, the notifications bell, so you won't miss a video. And I'll bring you back another wonderful video very soon. If you have a story to tell, send me an email at 5timeslucky@gmail.com. And I'd be glad to read it out, provided it falls within the criteria of the YouTube community guidelines. I hope this one does. See you again, lads. Thanks for joining me.